So one of the other concepts I'd heard about, and I think makes a lot of sense, is whatever diet you're on, having a day off. So doing six days on, 1 day off where you can eat whatever you want. Mm-hmm. What are some of the biochemical and hormonal things that are going on to help with that, or why might that be a good thing to do?
Well, I think it's a concept that comes up again and again, isn't it? You look back as sort of Dan Duquesne, and he's doing a ketogenic cycling diet. So you go into ketosis Monday to Friday, and then you load up sort of Friday evening to Sunday night, and then sort of toned down version of that is carb cycling, mm-hmm. and that's been very popular throughout sports now. I think I popularised that in the rugby fraternity, really, going low. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then loading for matches seems to make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. And when you restrict carbohydrates and then reload them, there's actually super compensation effects. So you actually have more. You get more in the muscles in order to perform. In terms of dieting for fat loss, what is known is that if you restrict too hard for too long, then
this is just overall calories or carbs?
Overall, well, bit of both.
Yeah,
bit of both. Then things will down-regulate.
Yeah.
So if you go on too low a percentage of your macros in terms of carbs, all your carb mobilizing and burning enzymes will down-regulate. And actually, if you get that too low for too long, you can actually become insulin resistant, mm-hmm. because the body's senses the low levels of glycogen, so it shuts down all the tissues to glycogen, so that any available glycogen just goes to the brain.
Right, okay.
So that's why if you go too low for too long, you have to really slowly step your carbs back up.
How do you mean the glycogen go into the brain?
Well, basically, if the body senses low levels of glycogen, mm-hmm. what can happen is the tissues can become insulin resistant.
Right, so your muscles and your liver and everything.
All that, and then because then what happens then is any carbohydrate you eat or any glucose will go to the brain preferentially.
Right, brain to be used. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's been shown if you go on like a less than 20% carb diet. That was shown back in the early 1900s. Then you actually induce a state of insulin resistance.
Right.
So, in that sense,
which is not good, obviously, insulin resistance, because some people watching this might not know whether insulin resistance is good or bad.
It's not good if you eat carbs.
Yeah.
If you stayed on a ketogenic diet, it wouldn't really negatively affect the physiology. Yeah. But as soon as you went back and then ate carbs normally, that's exactly what you want to avoid across the lifetime. Yeah,
because then you're going to turn that into fat because you're insulin resistant. You're more likely to.
Yeah, much more likely to turn into fat because it can't get back into the muscle cells.
So having a day off is quite a good idea. Because we were talking about our friends who are trainers and they'd been out on a party and stuff.
Well, there's two reasons that it's a good idea. One is it keeps your body in a state where it can load glycogen and use glycogen for high intensity exercise. So mm-hmm. that's one point. Second point is in terms of sort of healthy social aspect to mm-hmm. eating is that if you're the type of person that's so strict on your diet that you wouldn't go out for wines and the pizza for someone's birthday, then you're going to have to end up seeing another specialist on are they strict. So you have to live in the real world.
Yeah.
Even if eating in the real world long term isn't perhaps the healthiest way, and we can see that by correlative statistics in terms of obesity and diabetes and so on. You still have to slot in a little bit of
well, they've got a term for that now, haven't they? Orthorexia.
So people that are, look, don't get me wrong, it's good to be into stuff. We're into stuff. But I think always keep in the back of the mind the 80-20% rule. That might mean 1 day off a week or 2 half days, or periodic carb refeeds, mm-hmm. carb cycling, mm-hmm. a little bit of what you fancy does you good type of thing. As long as the majority of what you're doing is on track and making sure that you're getting towards your goals, because that's, again, mentally, that's going to be better for your self-esteem.
Of course.
All that.